So today we are going to cover the second type of bearing, or as you can say rolling contact bearing or anti-friction bearing. Now, what's the difference? So we have two types of bearings. One is based on contact, one is sliding contact bearing, and second is rolling contact bearing. Now, in case of sliding contact bearing, the one surface slide over the another surfaces, right? So here it means one has to be fixed. So here there going to be a complete surface contact. So more surface area is in contact, you can say relatively going to offer higher frictions. Okay, but if you just focus on rolling friction, where the steel ball or the roller or circular geometry simply roll over, so there going to be a point contact over here. So rolling friction will give you minimum friction during the operations. So sliding contact is replaced by rolling contact, resulting in low coefficient frictions. So this is what the rolling contact bearing. Rolling elements such as balls, rollers are introduced between the surfaces that are in relative motions. Now student, try to understand you can say plain bearing or sliding contact bearing, where the general, that is we are going to refer as shaft. Okay, let me draw over the figure. Okay, so this is shaft. Okay, and this is bearing. So here bearing remains stationary, is remain fixed. But in case of you can say in rolling contact bearing, the rolling element will fix between the inner ring or outer ring, right? So they roll over. Now rolling contact bearing are also called anti-friction bearings. This is the second name, or simply ball bearings. Many times student or other people simply refer them as simply a ball bearings rather than calling them the rolling contact bearing, right? Now here you have to remember how it is constructed. Just look at the very simple construction of a ball bearing. You must have seen in the market, right? So this outer ring is referred as the outer ring, or outer, you can sometimes, sorry. Sorry. So this outer ring and the inner ring, in between the rolling element is fixed or it is inserted. So you can say main component is outer ring and the inner ring, and the operating element is rolling ball, or you can say the roller itself, right? So here it is shown the disassembly state. The figure is shown in disassembly state. So this is the first figure where it is in assemble conditions, right? Now there are also going to be a seal to prevent entering of the dust particle or to retain the lubricant inside the bearings. Now this is called cage. Cage will retain the position of rolling contact or rolling element in a bearings. Otherwise if the cage is not used, they may gathered on a one side. ऐसा हो सकता है कि भी all जो भी balls हैं वो सारे एक side में इकट्ठे हो जाएंगे. They will be comes in one positions, right? So to prevent this, to have a uniform working or the loading conditions, a cage is used, which will simply space this rolling element at equal distance. So by construction, we have one ball, the outer race, or you can say outer ring, or the inner race or inner ring, or maybe the retainer, right? Now let's talk about the disadvantages. When you have a classification, say sliding contact bearing and rolling contact bearing, there has to be some difference. Otherwise, there is no reason to have a classifications. So now what are the advantages? It offer low starting and running friction except at very high speed. So this is advantage of rolling contact bearing. Okay. Now, what is disadvantage? It become more noisy at very high speed. If you rotate the ball bearings or rolling contact bearing at very high speed, they're going to create noise. Now, second advantage, ability to withstand momentary shock load. This is advantage. Now, it has very low resistance to shock loading. Right? Momentary it can, but if you have a frequently, then it may result in a failure. Accuracy of the shaft alignment. So because of this ball, which are finely dimensions or polished, even inner race and outer race, and assembled in such a way that the tolerance are very close tolerance, right? So because of that, it offer the shaft alignment. So accuracy of the shaft alignment is maintained. Now because of these, more element involved, let's recall the figure. just recall these simply various component. The cage, then the seal, then the inner ring, outer ring, rolling contact elements, right? These are too many elements in to build up the given rolling bearings, right? So initially it is going to give you the more cost. Now, low cost of maintenance, as no lubrication is required while in service, right? So what it says, it is so constructed that you do not require additional lubrication. So maintaining this element in working conditions, the cost of operation, or you can say the maintenance cost, is low. Now, because of that, what we have, design of bearing housing is complicated. Now see, just look at the figures based on the inner diameter. Let's say that this is inner diameter. If it is having more than 100 or 200 millimeter diameter, then the fitting of this bearing in housing. Now, to have a bearing action, at least inner ring or outer ring has to be fixed. So fixing is only possible by housing of element, right? Let's say I want to fix over a shaft. So this is a bearing, roller bearing. So this bearing need to be fixed in a housing. It is not going to work automatically, right? One has to fix one of the element, that is outer ring or either inner ring, depending upon how the motion is transferred to the bearing. So design of bearing housing is complicated. Now the fifth advantage, small overall dimensions. Now if you recall the plain bearings or simply pedestal bearing, let's say like this, right? So overall dimensions are basically high because you need to fix on a machine frame, right? Then you have to house the general, then you have to overall outer dimension of the bearings, right? So overall dimensions of a plain bearing is higher, but in case of rolling element or ball bearing, the dimensions are smaller. Now reliability of service. These ball bearings are works longer. They do not fail prematurely, right? So you can say the product is reliable. It offers a minimum working hours. Easy to mount and erect, right? So it's because it is circular. You can drill cut out in a circular form of the given dimension and you can fix it up, right? So mounting of this bearing is much easier. Even you can simply slide on a shaft and hammer with the you can say you can hammer it and position it. Now because its construction, it offer cleanliness. Now let's compare the two different types of bearing. One is general bearing, that is we are going to refer as plain bearing, okay, where it is a sliding contact is happened, right? But in case of the rolling contact bearing, where one surface is roll over to another surfaces. Now because of these two different phenomena, what are the advantages at the bearing level? Because bearing is designed to offer minimum friction in rotations, right? So if you choose the general bearing, its starting torque is very high because the surface of shaft or the bearing are having very good amount of contact area, right? So initially to give the motion, it require very heavy torque. Because here the rolling elements are having simply a point contact. What we have? Simply a point contact. So it require very low torque to start it up, right? So here the rolling bearing offer low starting torque. At very high speed, hydrodynamic bearings remain silent. This is advantage. This is advantage of plain bearing or general bearing. But bearing or roller bearing contact, but the ball bearing makes noise at higher speed, right? So this is what we have seen, okay? Now third advantage is, or third comparison is, occupy less radial space and large axial space. Now you have to understand this. This is basically related with the construction. This is related to the constructions. Now these ball bearings or simply roller contact bearing occupy less axial space and more radial space. Now what is this exactly? Let me draw the shaft over here. Now if you recall the ball bearing, it is circular in shape, but its thickness is very less. So because of thickness is very less, so with respect to axis, it occupy less thickness, or you can say less axial dimensions or less axial space. So ball bearing occupy less axial space but more radial space. Because it is circular, it require radial space. But in case of this simply the general bearing, the reverse is observed, where the it is so constructed that the axial space is very high, that is required some kind of thickness to fix it up, but on the radial side it requires less space. Now sudden failure of take place and may create accident in case of general bearing. It does not offer any kind of a warning. Now it makes a noise prior to failure. So this is a signal, you can say. So any expert or any worker which is working around the machines, if he found that there is a noise is coming out, it can simply stop the machine and can prevent the accident, right? But this may not happen with the in case of general bearing. Okay. Now general bearing capable to sustain both radial and axial load is difficult to design. Now see, many times machine elements are so that they subjected to radial load as well as the thrust load, right? So to design such general bearing which can take both kind of load, which are coming in different directions, it is very difficult, right? But certain bearings can be designed to sustain both radial load and axial load. So this is possible in case of bearing, roller ball rolling contact bearing. It is possible to design, right? It is not possible in case of general bearing. More clearance required compared to rolling contact bearings. See what it says. More clearance. Clearance means what? The two contact surface requires some clearance so that they can operate successfully, right? Here less clearance required compared to the general bearing. So you can say related with the accuracy offered to the shaft alignment. More dimension control, more accuracy of motions, right? Shaft alignment is possible. Now maintenance and lubrication is to be done carefully. Here you require to have a lubrication or maintenance work. You need to take care. But in case of rolling contact bearing, compared to the general bearing, maintenance and lubrication is economical and relatively easy. Now in automobile, let's say your two-wheeler or active or maybe any four-wheeler other, right? They basically use the rolling contact bearing. They use rolling contact bearing. They do not use the general bearings. General bearings are used in engine where the crankshaft is fixed on the bottom part, right? But again, now they are using the ball bearings for the proper alignment, right? So the use of rolling contact bearing is increasing the machines, right? Because they offer minimum frictions. Now let's talk about the types of rolling contact bearing. Previously, we have seen the types of the plain contact bearing or say the sliding contact bearing. Now let's look at the types of rolling contact bearing. The first is based on the shape or shape of a rolling element, that is ball bearings and the roller bearings, right? So these rolling element may be in form of ball or may be in form of roller. If we use ball, we are going to call it ball bearings, which is generally we used to refer for all the rolling contact bearings, right? Now ball, what's the difference then? Ball makes a point contact. This is the difference. And the roller makes a line contact. Just imagine you have a circular bar. If you're just throwing on a surface, plain surface, it will roll over. So the contact of area will be the simply line. But if you throw a marble, the marble is going to contact on a flat surface on a point. So with the ring raceway, the ball makes a point contact with the ring raceway. Just look at over here. Okay. With the increasing load acting on the bearing, the contact becomes an elliptical area. Now see what happened. If the roll on the ball, if the load is increasing, this point contact become instead of circular point contact, as the load increases, the circle is getting elliptical, right? The small contact area provides low rolling friction. This is advantage, right? Which enable ball bearing to accommodate very high speed but also limit their load carrying capacity. So because of this construction, if you want high speed activity or the motions, then you have to go for the ball bearing, right? But you do have to keep in mind the limitation of load carrying capability, right? They do not carry more load with respect to the roller bearings, right? Why? Because there is a point contact. As the load increases, they become the elliptical, right? And this elliptical point is simply a point contact, and because of it is point contact, at the local point you can say the stress increases. Stress is equal to load upon area, right? Area is simply what, because of the point contact. If the load is increasing, the stress increase in the stress value is higher, right? But the increasing area is limited, right? So you have to keep in mind. Now roller makes line contact with the ring raceway with increasing load acting on the bearings, right? So what will happen? It was thin line, now it is getting become the thicker line. The contact lines somewhat rectangular in a shape. You can say thick line means a rectangle, okay? And because of the larger contact area and the consequently higher friction, a roller bearing can accommodate heavier load. See, because of the shape only. If you use the ball bearing, you have a disadvantage of utilizing at a very high speed, right? But same time you cannot apply the much load. But if you use the roller contact bearing, then you can have more load carrying capacity, right? But lower speed, you cannot able to achieve the higher speed than the same size ball bearing. If you compare with the same size ball bearing, the roller bearing will going to bear maximum load or higher load compared to the ball bearings, right? But it is not sorry. So if you choose the same size of bearings, that is ball bearing and roller bearing is going to bear more load because its contact is rectangular or simply a thick line with respect to the ball bearing where it is a point contact. So ball bearing simply offer higher speed, low load, and this is low speed, higher load, right? Just look at this figure where the only element is changed. Otherwise, construction wise, the outer race is observed, inner race is also there. Now, because of the shape of rolling element is circular, here it is roller shape, right? So, based on that, we have to cut out the inner race as well as the outer race, right? So, to accommodate this rolling element, we have to carry out the machining process in inner ring and the outer ring. The rolling contact bearings, depending upon the load to be carried, are also classified as, see, based on how the load is applied, radial and thrust. Now, as we have discussed earlier, radial means if the bearing is rotating like this. So this is axis of rotation. This is axis of rotation. When the load is acting perpendicular to that, it is referred as radial load. So such bearing is called radial bearings. Supports only radial load, the plane of rotations. So this is plane of rotations of the ball is normal to the center line of bearing. So it is always like this. Normal means perpendicular. Okay. Similarly, in case of thrust bearing, what we have is the load acting is parallel to the bearing axis. So the action of thrust load is shift to the plane of rotation of ball. Instead of it was normal, now it is parallel, or you can say the parallel to the bearing axis as shown in the figure. The radial and thrust load both may be carried out simultaneously. It may happen that this bearing may carry the radial load as well as thrust load, right? So ball bearings are simply roller bearings are designed either for purely radial bearings or radial load or maybe the thrust load, or they may carry the both types of load simultaneously, right? So thrust bearing is basically able to take the radial load as well as the thrust load. Okay. Now let's discuss the types of radial ball bearings. Earlier we have seen the various types of plain bearing or sliding contact bearing. Now, based on requirement applications, we have the various types of radial ball bearing. Here, remember, It is roller contact bearing, but we are discussing only about the ball bearing, where the rolling element is in the form of ball, not in the form of roller, right? We do have a classification of radial roller bearings, right, later on. So first is single row deep groove bearing. Single row, very simple. There going to be only one row of rolling element, or simply ball. Deep groove, what does it means? Where they are sitting in a inner race or the outer race. The groove is basically. Now this is the simple figure of the single row deep groove bearing. The deep groove ball bearings are used due to their high load carrying capacity. So this is what the applications. Why do they use? When they have a very high load carrying capacity requirement, they are used, right? And suitability for high running speed. So if you have a two requirement, a good running speed and the load carrying capacity, then you can prefer this kind of single row deep groove bearings. The load carrying capacity of a ball bearing is related to the size and the number of balls. See, here it is very clearly written. The capacity means the load carrying capacity of ball bearings. Ball bearing is related to the size and the number of balls. Okay, so it depends on size of a ball and number of balls. Now second type is filling notch bearings. Just look at the figure, how it is different from the previous one, right? Here the entrance or the sideways are similar. Here the one of the sideways are having taper shape. Okay, these bearings have notches in the inner and outer races. Notches means notch shape. That kind of is called notch shape. Okay, so inner and outer race have a notch shape, which permit more balls to be inserted than in a deep groove ball bearing. So because of such construction, it allows you to accommodate more balls inside the bearings. This type of bearing contains large number of balls than corresponding unnotched one. Means if there is similar construction of bearing is used, ball bearing is used, and then if you use the notch construction, you can accommodate more steel balls. Therefore, it has larger bearing load capacity. It can lift more load. It can support more load during the operation, even compared to the single row deep groove bearings. Now third is angular contact bearing. These bearings have one side of the outer race cut away. Just look at this. I'm drawing over here, right? So this part is cut away. Or let me show you over here. This part of the outer race is cut away like this to permit the insertion of more balls than in a deep groove bearing, but without having a notch cut in both races. So because of such things, what will happen? Instead of having the kind of a notch construction, but by simply cutting away these recesses on one side, it helps you only simply on a outer recess. यहाँ पे क्या है, आउटर रिसेस जो है वहाँ पे ही कट लगाया हुआ है. इट इज सो बिकॉज इट्स सिमिलर टू द नोच कंस्ट्रक्शन, बट इट इज हियर वी आर सिंपली रिफ्रेन फ्रॉम कटिंग द नोचिस. हमें यहाँ पे नोच कट नहीं करना पड़ेगा. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट वी आर हैव अ मोर बॉल्स. दिस परमिट द बेरिंग to carry relatively large axial load in one direction while also carrying relatively large radial load, right? So because of such construction, what will happen? It let you take the load in one directions, a large axial load. Try to understand what is axial load and the radial load. Axial load means this kind of load. Radial load means this kind of load. Okay, while also carrying a relatively large radial load. So angular contact bearing support radial load and thrust load. Thrust means axial load. Radial means parallel to the radius or perpendicular to the bearing axis. The angular contact bearings are usually used in pairs so that thrust load may be carried out in one direction. Now see, this is a very important aspect. They need to be used in pair. Why? Let's say this is a shaft, okay? When you have, let's say this is shaft, okay? Let me write shaft. When the load is come out, right, it may be the thrust load or maybe the axial load, that is radial load. So because of that, it may try to shift it, right? So here we can attach one more another angular bearing, but in reverse direction, reverse order. So they simply cancel out the movement of one bearing, that is sliding of a bearing due to the thrust load, right? So यहाँ पे क्या करेंगे, हम दोनों एक्सियल दोनों ही एंगुलर कॉन्टैक्ट बेरिंग इस्तेमाल करेंगे. सो इट इज कॉल्ड पेयर, राइट? So angular contact bearings are usually used in pair so that the thrust load may be carried out in simply in either directions, either this or that, or simply you can say left or right. Now, fourth is double row bearing. Here, if you compare the previous case, that is first one, single row, we have double row. Just look at the figure. Okay. Now look at the previous figure. We have only one row of steel balls. Here we have two rows of steel balls. Now what is the advantage? Why we are using this kind of two double row bearings? The double row bearing is appreciably narrower. Narrower means in construction wide it is narrow. Narrow means this is narrow. Okay. Then two single row bearing. The load capacity of such bearing is slightly less than the twice of a single row bearing. So you can say because of the smaller rolling element and narrower construction, it does not offer that much of load carrying capacity, that is compared to the single row bearings. Now fifth is self-aligning bearing. These bearing permit shaft deflection within 2 to 3 degrees. Now basically how it works. Now just look at it. The outer recess or race or ring you can say is having circular surface, like a large circular surface, right? Now self-aligning bearing, where it is used? Wherever there is a accommodation of shaft deflection is required, shaft deflection is required, you can say. There are chances because of load shaft may deflect, but that deflection need to be accommodated within the range of 2 to 3 degrees, right? So it is only possible. Let's say this bearing, the load is come out, right? So these balls may shift on a right side or may shift on a left side. The row of ball may shift left or right. So that is permitted. So because it is only possible if this surface is circular like this or curvy, right? So because of these rows of the balls and along with the inner recess, they simply move out or move on a right side. So this is called deflections, right? Angular deflection. So that can be simply taken care because of these kind of constructions. So that's why it is referred as self-aligning bearing. So whenever the load is removed from the shaft, they come back to its original position, that is center position. So it get aligned themselves, right? Now the last type is simply a thrust ball bearing, right? We have seen the radial ball bearing. Now let's look at the thrust ball bearing. Now basically where the thrust ball bearing are used. What is thrust? Thrust means load is acting parallel to the bearing axis like this. This is the load axis. Okay. So bearing is like this. So rolling element is like this. So thrust ball bearings are used for carrying thrust loads exclusively at the speed below 2000 rpm. Now thrust load is simply when the load is acting parallel to the rotation of shaft or maybe the bearing plane or rotation of bearing plane. In that case it is referred as thrust bearing, right? Now what is construction? Just look at the real figure. this bearing rotate like this, but it take the load perpendicular to this axis, or sorry, perpendicular to surface, or it is a parallel to the axis. So this is a rotation axis. The load is acting perpendicular to it, right? Or he can say the load is acting parallel to this rotation axis. Bearing rotation axis. It is acting parallel to the rotations. That is referred as thrust definitions, right? Now, you may have either single direction thrust ball bearing where the load is acting in only one directions, or you may have a double direction thrust ball bearing. Either you apply on this direction, on a top direction. It can take the load on both sides. Now let's discuss the standard dimensions and designation of ball bearing. Now this is what the practical things. Whenever you go to the market and want to purchase a bearing, you have to say a bearing numbers, right? So here, the bearing construction is given like this: the outside diameter and the inner diameter. Inner diameter means bore diameter, or you can say the shaft that is to be accommodated inside over here, right? So bore diameter is nothing but it's a simply shaft diameter. Okay. The bearing is designed by minimum 3-digit number. Let's say 3, 2, 5 like this. Or simply let's take this example 305. Now additional digit or letter are also used to indicate the spatial feature. For example, deep groove, filling notch. The last 3 digits give the series and the bore of the bearings. This is very important. Last, let's say you have some like this, like this kind of. So last 3 digit is very important. They are going to give you the information about the series and the bore of the bearings. Bore of the bearing means the inner race diameter or the shaft that is going to fit on it, right? The last 2 digit from 04 onwards, when the multiply by the 5 gives the bore diameter in millimeters. Let's take a practical example. And the third from the last digit designate the series of the bearing. Let's say you can have, based on that, we have extra light, medium and heavy, right? So whenever you have a requirement of medium load, the bearing may have series like this 3010, like so. This 300 series indicate the medium bearings. Let's take example. For example, if the bearing number is 305, let's say, like, it means it is medium series bearing. Why? So let's take an example of this bearing 305. It means it belongs to medium series range, means the load is and the dimension is medium. Okay, and having bore diameter 5 into 5, that is 25. Why? This last digit is multiplied by the 5, right? So if you take like this 406, so you have to multiply by the 6 is by 5, so 30. So 30 is the bore diameter, but because it is 4 is having there, right? So it belongs to the heavy series. Okay, so let's try to recall the last 3 sentences. The last 2 digit from 4 onwards, when multiplied by 5 gives the bore diameter as we are doing it, right? तो जो भी डायमेंशन हमारे होंगे, जो लास्ट डिजिट है उसको हमें क्या करना है, 5 से मल्टीप्लाई करना है. Then that will going to give you the bore diameter in millimeter. The third from the last digit designate the series. So first, second and third designate the series. So we have taken the example 305. So multiply 5 by 5 means 25. 25 is a bore diameter. So this bore diameter is 25. Okay. But the third digit from the last indicate the series of bearings. So here it is 3. So 3 means it is a medium series. Okay.